Hey everyone, it's Mallo, your host of IDENTECO After Dark and the creative director here for IDENTECO. Before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that this episode is brought to you in part by Gamers Heaven and their newest location just north of Seattle, Washington. There, in a family-friendly and welcoming environment, you can play tabletop or video games, read manga, or just relax with friends and sample some amazing drinks from their boba tea bar. If you want to learn more, log on to gamersheavenseattle.com to see hours and location. Now let's get on with the show. Hello, Fringers. The following podcast may not be suitable for all ages. Listener discretion is advised. Oh, hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's episode of IDENTECO After Dark, a show where we talk about video games, TV, music, movies, and more. My name is Mallo. I am your host, and I am joined, as I always am, with my co-conspirator, Alex the Humanoid. How are you, sir?
What's up? How's it going, everybody?
Tonight, we are joined by a very special guest from the Redemption Podcast and one of our intrepid hackers in Chaos Inc. It's Kaylee.
Good evening, everybody. I cannot wait to talk about Cowboy Beebop. I'm too excited.
That is what we are talking about.
Oh, I spoiled it already. Damn.
Yes.
What am I? Darn it.
So I guess the easiest way to do it is 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
That was my line Monday night.
You know what? I think that's a great place to start. Let's start with the intros.
Yes.
Can we all say how happy we are, first off, that when they told us that Yoko Kanno was coming back for the music and they were going to keep the intro music, I was like, that's respect right there.
They could not have done Cowboy Bebop without Yoko Kanno and the seatbelts.
Yeah.
The music is too integral to the entire show.
Well, they could have gone with different contemporary type artists and done a different flair with it. But I do like that at least for season 1, they brought back, everybody's fan favorites, right?
Yeah.
I like too, so I guess let's preface this by saying, hi, we're talking about Cowboy Bebop. If you haven't, we're going to go through all that tonight for our podcast. This is going to be a spoiler cast. It's probably going to get spoiled a little bit for me too, because I'm only with about 3 episodes in. I don't think anybody on the panel here tonight has seen all of the episodes.
No.
But that's okay.
Tried 2 of them.
We've seen enough to know what we like and maybe don't like about the show. So just take that with a grain of salt. Although if you've seen the anime, it can't be completely spoiled for you, I don't think. I will say, just to jump back to the intro music sort of thing. Has anybody noticed that they start a bar later every episode, or at least it's the few episodes I've seen, it seems like they start a bar later in the song. So it's like the first episode, full on tank, right? Second episode, it starts like a bar in. Third episode, it's starting another bar in. And I was like, is that done on purpose? Because if that's done on purpose, that's fucking brilliant.
There are some
until just now.
It floats a little bit. Like I said, I made episodes in, and there's an episode coming up later. I've got my list of episodes here, and I think it was episode 6 or 7, I think. Which I won't go into what it is because I don't want to spoiler it for both of you guys. But if you listen to it, it sounds kind of weird, and there's a reason for it, and you kind of at the end of the episode go, oh, now I understand that way back in the beginning they were giving us hints how the episode was going already. And a lot of the episode, like I think it's episode 3 or 4, like they get background music of the scene that just kind of flows right into the opening of Tank, or like halfway into it, almost through the first, like you said, the first measure. Mm-hmm. But then like there's episodes later where it's the full-on Tank. So I think they're playing around with it, but keeping it in place.
It's so well done. So the fact that they do a cold open and then it goes into the intro and stuff like that, and then like sometimes they don't even get to the main, title screen until much farther through the cold open. I love that bit of play back and forth.
One of the episodes, I remember I was watching it with my roommate, and when the title screen came, the credits came on, and then the title screen came on, I was like, we've been watching this for like 15 minutes, and we're now just getting to the title card.
I've been through that episode because it shocked me. I was like, wait, I thought I missed it. Like it didn't it wasn't like bad or anything like that. I was so ingrained in the story at that point that like when they threw the title screen up there, I was like, oh shit. Forgot we hadn't done that part yet.
I should actually warn everybody that my views are very tainted. This has probably become one of my favorite shows of all time. It is perilously close to dethroning Firefly as my favorite show of all time.
Oh, daggone.
And that's saying a garam bit.
That's saying a lot.
So I guess been a brown coat since launch, and this is so close.
Here's the thing that I would probably say too. We are not critics, so we can be as tainted as we want to, because I got the microphone and these folks got the microphone too. We can say what the hell we want. So that's cool. We don't have to be objective. Here's the one thing that I will be objective about. If you were shitting on this show before you even got a chance to see it, fuck you. Fuck off.
No shit. I mean, you got to give it a chance.
I'm not probably where Kaylee is, right? This is not like, I'm not like, this is the greatest show of all time. Now, I will say that I come of it, and I'm curious, and I need to get my spouse to sit down and watch it, because she is not an anime person, but she loves TV. We watch a lot of shows together. Like, she was a big Firefly fan, for example. And Cowboy Bebop is one of my favorite animes of all time, if not my favorite. I mean, it's like, I'd have to argue with myself. So my view of this is obviously going to be colored by...
Don't challenge him, chat, because he will argue with himself.
My experience in the original show. And so I'm curious what it's like for somebody who has no frame of reference.
I'm literally conducting this experiment on Monday.
Okay.
This girl that I'm dating, I have the day off, and she visit, and she's like, we're gonna just spend the day hanging out and watching TV. And I'm like, you have not seen Cowboy Bebop yet. I'm going to start her with the Netflix show. I really am. Because she's not big into anime, but she's a gamer and she likes Firefly, so I think she's gonna really dig the show. And I want to see her reaction to it and see if it kind of meshes. And whether or not we're gonna continue to go out.
I will be really curious to hear your report on this, because I really do. I want to know what it's like for somebody who's not into it, because there are things where I was like where I'm picking up on references that I'm like, I know if you don't know, you don't know what this is all about.
That's an interesting thought. It's been a year and a half since I've watched the anime, so I probably should go back and rewatch it once I've finished season 1 of the Netflix, because I'd be interesting to kind of see it from the other direction.
I find it as somebody who watched so Cowboy Bebop is my favorite anime of all time, even though it took me up until this past year to watch it for the first time. I didn't watch Adult Swim back in the day. I didn't catch a lot of that kind of stuff. I got exposed to the original Japanese cuts of Dragon Ball Z because of a friend who imported them from Japan back when you had to get the DVDs or the tapes and all that kind of stuff sent to you, kind of thing. Dating myself slightly, I'm sorry. And so I didn't catch the original hubbub about it. But I had seen enough stuff about it that I got really interested, so I binged the whole thing. I have to say that this particular series is doing a much better job, though I love the original series. This one is doing a much better job setting up the world and diving into details about the characters that are important and interesting to me. And I love that extra bit of depth, having come straight from basically the anime into this. And I'm like, there were so many loose ends. And Alex has heard me talk about this a long time. I love series that end, that have an ending, and that's the reason Cowboy Bebop is my favorite of all time is because they said we're doing 26 episodes. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and that's it. I'm not making any more. That's it.
But then we're gonna make a movie.
I haven't watched the movie. I haven't watched the movie. I was told not to watch. I was told not to watch the movie, so
It's fine. It takes place between like episodes like 16 and 17.
Okay.
It's a fun one-off.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, I'm curious what it's like for somebody who doesn't. Now, I do love the stuff that they're diving into. We're getting a lot more about Spike's background. We're getting a lot more about who Jet is and how Jet got where, and we're getting it much earlier in the series.
Yeah.
Because I went back to review the episode guide for the anime versus this, and I was like, we're getting into some stuff way earlier in the show than we get it in the anime, which we don't get to till like episodes 12, 13, 14, 15. So it's getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although some of the changes to that I don't think are bad. I'm just curious why.
Yeah. I have a I didn't want to get into this particular one until later, but I have a debate that I'd like us to have. And I guess, Alex, you teed it up right there. Is that because this was conceived for a American audience first, whereas the original one was made for a Japanese audience? And that it's a difference in American storytelling versus Japanese storytelling?
I don't think so. I just think they have more time. This was the issue with Cowboy Bebop, this was the issue with Trigun, and this was really the original issue with Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh, okay.
You don't have the time to do some of these deep dives. So, especially with Cowboy Bebop, they did a lot of that avant-garde, like flashback to music, and just kind of let your brain fill in
the rest of
stuff.
it? Yeah.
Here, they're like, no, we're going to tell you. And I'm like, okay, cool, but cool, right? Like, you know, and we already said this was a spoiler cast, right?
Yep.
Everybody in the chat looks like they've already either watched enough of it to know, or they're not worried about being spoiled so far. So.
Right. So, Spike. We have a big change with Spike in the show in that he has another name that we did not have in the anime.
Yeah.
Right? So, you have Vicious, who's Vicious. And I want to talk about Vicious later, because there's one key question I have about Vicious. And we'll talk about that later.
You mean Draco Malfoy all grown up?
Yeah.
It is. It is. I guarantee you the question that I'm going to ask is not the question you're thinking, chat, so stay tuned for this one. Right? But now we have Vicious, and now Spike was Fearless.
Felix, I thought.
Fearless.
Fearless.
Oh, I heard Felix, and I was like, that's a great name. Oh, Fearless.
No.
Fearless. There's
Okay.
Vicious and Fearless.
Okay, that's
And
interesting.
I'm like, why?
So later on, there is a entire flashback episode, and I haven't finished it yet. I stopped. I had a meeting to go to, and I literally stopped it before I got to the climax of that episode. But there is basically it's a flashback episode with Fearless and Vicious, and you find out. And this is a minor spoiler for YouTube, but you find out that how they came to meet was they found Fearless as a kid, and they're like kind of really actually brothers. Vicious's father, who is like what part of the syndicate, took him in, and he basically became he was known because he didn't really have any emotions. He showed no fear to anybody, and that's why he was fearless.
Okay. Yeah. Again, it's change, but it's just curious.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Well, and the whole thing, like you hit on this earlier, it's like all the characters seem to be very fleshed out very early.
Yeah.
Again, it's been a year and a half to 2 years since I've seen Bebop, but I don't remember a lot of Faye backstory.
You don't get a lot of Faye backstory again until 12, 13, 14, 15 when they go back to Earth and there's the other stuff. So yeah, they are fleshing out Faye. First off, Faye enters the series way earlier
That's true.
than she entered in the original, because she's in episode 1 in a storyline that she was not involved in the original.
But I have to take a side note from this and say that it's true of all the actors, but my God, Danielle, I think it's Pineda, I think is her name, the actress. Yep. She has brought Faye to life in such a way that Faye has eclipsed Ein as my favorite Beebop character. This version of Faye Valentine is a sassy, snarky, badass bitch, and I love her to death.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She is one of the best. I mean, in a show full of amazing things, she is a great highlight for me. I love her in this show.
I think she's doing a great job.
Can I just say the fact that they can say the word fuck? I mean, y'all know that if you've been watching the show long enough, you'll know my love of the word fuck. And I could go through the whole George Carlin bits about the dirty words and everything like that. But that adds to the whole edge a little bit to it. That they can actually, like, Faye is no longer this, like, kind of thing all the time. Like, she's like, nah, fuck you, fuck them, fuck you, mother, and I'm getting my bounty. Doesn't work out for her in the first episode, but still, it's there, and I like it, you know? It's so much better.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact that they don't get along right away, I mean, which is, you know, take back from the anime. Yeah. But she just constantly refers to them as assholes and dickheads and shit like that. it just fills my heart with this weird joy, but, you know, it's a natural evolution with them, not anything forced.
The whole not getting along. This is the one thing that's tripping me as far as the relationships between our three best bounty hunters. I feel like Spike and Jet in the anime are much closer friends in the anime than they are in this show. There is definitely a tension between Spike and Jet that I feel is escalated for this show.
Yep. I'm here for it too. I just, by episode 10, I want them to kiss.
I feel about it yet.
Like, that's what I'm just saying.
The way they don't get along kind of is jarring me a little bit.
I think it's the opposite. For me, in the anime, how they got along was like, again, I think, and this gets back to, I think, the point you were having earlier, Alex, is like, they teased it in the anime that maybe they didn't always get along and stuff like that, but they didn't have enough time to actually explore that, right? Because they're partners out of necessity, right? And that bit of back and forth, it was jarring at first, but I kind of got to it. I was like, you know what? This might be early on in their friendship when it comes to it, or working relationship when it comes to it. And I think that's kind of fun. Like, you know, like, I'm hoping over the seasons 2, 3, however many we get of these, that they'll get a little bit closer and stuff like that. But, you know, we'll see.
Well, the secret that Spike was, at this point, everybody knows Spike was a member of the Syndicate.
Yep.
That's the secret that's basically keeping Spike apart from Jet. It's, you know,
the thing
Spike,
is, I don't remember that being a secret in the anime.
I don't remember it either. But that's why you're seeing here why they're not so buddy-buddy.
Right, but
they're playing up that tension intentionally because they want. That might be a little more of the American style, a little more confrontation, and a little more play with that.
Yeah, and so that's, again, I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it jarred me, and it's still kind of, as I go through the series, the tension, the way that tension is being played between Spike and Jet. Again, it's very jarring, and again, that may just be me because, again, I have the anime.
Yeah,
pushing into the back of my brain.
I think too, it's interesting that, like, we see a lot more in the early episodes, at least, of Spike going to, like, you start to put together, and this is something, again, the anime probably just didn't have time to do, is like, when you get to the sort of pieces, it's like, how the hell did Spike live for so long? If the Syndicate is so big and bad, how did he live for so long? And they're starting to put these little bits of details of, like, how he's utilizing networks and he's utilizing some of the same people and stuff like that to sort of get a leg up on the rest of the Syndicate and stay a step ahead of them. I love that bit of detail. The whole jazz club in episode 2, that as it it's like a full circle. Like, okay, we've come back to the jazz club thing and all like that. I was like, that's amazing, So
that's another one of those ones where the character changes they've made, because the character of Anna there being the head of that club.
Yep.
Right. That's a huge expansion on that character from the anime, and a big change.
Yeah.
From who she was in the anime.
Right.
They're obviously bringing her in way earlier, and actually the chat just brought it up because we see Gren in that club too.
Yes.
And I was like, what is Gren doing here? I'm confused.
Yeah. We have not gotten 2 hours of Jupiter Jazz yet, Tip. But yeah, no, I mean...
No, and that's just it, is that you usually get... That's where you get Gren.
Yeah.
But Gren is here not on Jupiter.
He's on Venus, yeah.
With Anna.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's new. Why?
I don't hate that part, though.
I don't hate it, and I actually like that the actor who's playing Gren, I think, is a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Their characterization of Gren is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's a scene where they're doing like choreography for one of the stage dancers, and it's just, and then Julia comes in, and I was like, wow, that's...
I was like, ooh, cat fight, and then it turned out slightly differently than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fun byplay. And Julia started off, Julia for me started off very wooden. And she's, the longer the series goes on, the more animated she becomes, the more I actually kind of like her and understand her better. But like at the beginning, I was just kind of like, okay, you're there, you're a scenery piece.
And then we've added a lot to Julia and changed Julia's relationship to everyone.
Yeah, I did notice that in the
That's
episodes
a big
I've seen.
change in my plan. You know what?
Yeah.
She's married to Vicious? Where did this come from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a little startling.
Chat's bringing up the cast is good. You want to talk about the cast?
Yeah, let's bring up the cast. I have to hit visuals before we get done with this, by the way. I have a note on the design.
I love the cast except for one person who I'm still kind of mad on.
Okay.
Right. Who's that?
And that's Vicious.
Okay. All right, let's talk about him.
I would agree on that. Just saying, for the most part, yeah, everybody except actually for me, Julia is hit or miss, but like I said, she's growing on.
Vicious, I expect to be less campy. Vicious, the way he's playing Vicious is very camp, in my opinion, and I don't love it.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Death Note?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You know how the 2 main characters in Death Note are basically the 2 sides of the same coin, and they're just so tit for tat in that? Mm-hmm. I don't get the sense from this Vicious that they're tit for tat just yet. Now, that might be I haven't gotten enough episodes in, but in what I've been exposed to with Vicious, which again came in much earlier, I think, in the series than it did in the anime, at least from what I can remember. Mm-hmm. Like, it's interesting that like he's got a Harry Potter vibe. I know I joked about that, but he's definitely got a little bit of that Malfoy vibe going on in it.
100%.
Which is campy to Alex's point. Like, I'm interested, like I sort of expected him to be a little bit more suave. And like Spike's got that bit of suave and
swagger to him.
Swagger and everything. That's one of the things that I love so much about this show. Vicious is like running into like all the fish that he hangs around in. Like,
that's my sense from Vicious from the anime is he is evil.
Yeah.
I mean evil. And he will kill anyone who gets in his way. And he is this, but I don't get that evil sense, and not in the like I'm afraid of this guy sense. I'm getting he's evil in that goofball, I'm going to monologue for 30 minutes before I kill you way.
Yeah.
See, now having been a few more episodes into this, for me, And I agree. I think that all of the cast is superb, and all of them are very good at and subtle and swift at playing their characters. So there's a lot of nuance. Vicious is being played like a blunt instrument in this place.
Yeah.
I think Vicious is going to murder me. Like, if I was interacting with this instead of just being a viewer, I would be sure Vicious was going to murder me in the way that I think a rabid dog who has been starved for 3 days is going to attack and kill and eat me.
Yeah.
It's that kind of, not the dark, like the darkness of the human soul evil type, but more the honestly, he lives up to his name a little bit more here, and he is a vicious beast of a character who, yes, happens to look like a Malfoy.
Chat was, well, in fairness, that is kind of how he looked in the series, although anime smooths that over. But chat was saying emo Vicious is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chat's really kind of on our thing. Vicious is kind of, in my opinion, the weak link. All right, so here's my question about Vicious. Okay, and Kaylee, watch further. Chat, a couple of you have finished this. Here's my biggest thing. Where's the fucking bird? Where's his fucking bird? That was actually something that kind of made him almost seem more evil. It was that creepy fucking bird that ran around with him in the anime. I was like, where's the bird? Where's his pet weird?
I don't remember the fucking bird.
Tuca pelican.
I don't even remember the bird.
Yeah, the bird is everywhere he goes. Every time he kills somebody, they always do the shot away, and the bird's always with him, and it rides on his shoulder, and it's like, Wah! Right? There's the evil. It looks like a cross between a toucan and a pelican, right? But it's evil looking. Like, it looks like genetically modified. It's fucked up. Yeah, a raven crow thingy weirdness.
Yeah.
Right? Where's this bird? That's all I want to know. Where's this
He's
damn
traded
bird?
birds for fish, apparently, in this version.
Apparently. Okay, the chat remembers the bird. Okay, where's our bird?
Completely missed that part. I would like to see a bird now. I would like to see a bird.
As of the episode I watched, which was 8, I think. No bird.
So he's kind of weak. Like, I love John Cho.
Yes.
He's killing it. Mustafa Shakir as Jet is killing it.
Oh my god, I cannot believe what he is bringing. He has the voice, too.
I was just about to say, I know he's not the voice of Jet, because I've seen the voice of Jet do the voice and stuff like that on like YouTube and stuff like that, but holy fuck does he not sound exactly like Jet. And the attitude, the demeanor, everything, man, it's insane.
The only, and this is a very small thing, comparing Jet, looking at Jet and Spike in the anime, Jet is a very big, physically imposing man, and here he's not as big as I think he should be, but that's a very minor thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Spike's supposed to be this long, lean, skinny thing, and Jet's supposed to be this bulky brute of a guy.
He does call Spike skinny or slim at some point, and I thought that was funny.
I mean, in fairness, John Cho is kind of small.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm comparing the recent like action heroes I've seen lately, and you look at Shang-Chi and Simeon Liu, and I'm like, then I go and I literally, because I had to travel for a shoot this past week, so I went literally from Shang-Chi into Cowboy Bebop, and it's like, you got buff Simeon Liu, yes please, may I have that on a platter, to John Cho, also yes please, may I have it on the platter, but a different flavor.
Now,
very different.
According to the interwebs, John Cho is 5'10".
So he's taller than I am.
Okay, maybe he's not short.
Hey, Ben, welcome in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad we moved on there a little bit, because we kept talking about Shang-Chi. I was going to talk about how ridiculously attractive the entire cast is.
Holy fuck! We need a whole Shang-Chi panel, because I downloaded that on Disney Plus and watched that on the trip on the way, and holy fuck, that movie is amazing. Yes,
it was very good.
Yes,
but we're here about Cowboy Bebop.
I honestly think, as far as performance goes, I think Danielle Pineda's kind of chewing up a lot of scenes.
You think?
Yeah.
I need to see more scenes with her.
She's chewing up a lot of scenery. Once you get into especially episode 4.
Uh-huh.
Which is when she comes back.
Oh, yeah.
She chews a lot of scenery there. She chews a lot in episode 5.
One thing that they're doing really well here
that's a good thing, by the way, Chad, is when you're chewing scenery, it means you're just like,
yeah. One thing they're really doing that's interesting here is every episode has a main focus.
Yeah, they did keep that from the anime.
Yeah, like episode 4, which is Callisto Soul, is very much, it's a Faye episode. It's all about Faye's background. So the boys are more the background, the ancillary characters. So yeah, she's chewing the hell out of the scenery and just she's owning all of it. It's kind of awesome. I love it. But then you shift around and Dark Side Tango, the next episode 5, that's about Jet and his history. So it's all about them. And then Faye and Spike are off in the background, literally in some places.
Yeah.
There's literally a scene. There's an episode a little bit later where they're doing some job. I can't even remember what it was. I was very late at night, and Jet has to see his daughter's recital.
Finally.
Yeah. So the recital's about to start, and they basically get it. There's a scene, and it's him doing the recital. That's what the entire focus is on. When it cuts back, because he's doing it via hollow. And when it cuts back, you see in the background that Spike's getting attacked by all this weird ass shit. You can't hear anything. You just see it happening in the background. It's out of focus. It's half out of frame.
Yeah.
And it's comedy gold in the background. But then they immediately cut back into this, the kid dancing and such like that, and Jet reacting.
Yep.
And I love that. It shows that even though the focus is here, the world is going on, and they're still paying attention to it.
Yeah.
So on the Jet thing, you want to make me hate a character? His ex-wife.
I haven't met her yet. I'm at the part of the show where brother can't catch a break trying to get that damn doll. I felt
keeps going.
So I know, and it's a bit that keeps it. That is a bit that gets to the poor side of me so fucking hard, where I'm like I'm feeling so hard for Jet during that episode. Which I know was kind of a central theme to the whole anime and stuff like that, and I know we won't get necessarily away from that. But man, cannot catch a break.
No.
Yeah, and
that bit gets better.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, I don't like Jet's wife. And I don't remember the guy they got to play her husband. I call him Chalmers. Yeah, but I call him Bargain Basement Bill Paxton. Because he looks like Bill Paxton with a giant walrus mustache.
Yeah, he does.
I can't unsee it. I mean, he has a major part later he comes in a couple more episodes, and especially in Dark Side Tango with Jet's backstory, there's a huge reveal for him there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Speaking go ahead. No, I was going to say, speaking of huge reveals, if you've gotten to episode 10, and this was leaked on the internet too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to listen to this because I don't want to know.
That's okay. All I'm gonna do is when you get to episode 10, wink, and that's all I'm gonna say. Kaylee can come back now. All right, you're safe now. You can come back.
Okay, I heard that's all I was gonna say.
Little wink. That's all I got right there.
That I was going to watch it tonight, and I'm watching it with my roommate, and he wussed out and went to bed. Slacker. I mean, it is okay. My watch is actually asleep. It's almost 11, but still, tomorrow's Thanksgiving.
This is actually something that I don't, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago on the show. Maybe it was about a month ago on the show, and that's this. I actually don't like that Netflix drops everything at once.
Same.
I don't.
We started in the pre-show for those that are watching. We started in the pre-show talking about that Hawkeye dropped episodes 1 and 2 today. I love that because we get through, Marvel Die Hard, which we will do a show about as well because we're going to watch it. Pilot, I know you're all for the instant drop, but like some of us guys, we got other shit to do, man. Like you were on like a whole nother fucking level with the way that you were able to do content, my dude. I need to learn from you is what I need. I need to learn from you, my dude.
True. So and again, this is why I like Hawkeye. This is true. Because we can do a couple episodes a week or an episode a week, and it's great for us content creators because then we can do one episode at a stinking time.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, it's just there's that feeling like you want to like slam through it so you don't get spoiled, and so you do.
Yes.
Like we see Kaylee's like, oh no, I don't want to do it, right? Because we know that this show has changed from the anime, so there's surprises to be had. So if anybody in the chat hasn't watched it, if you were going into this, and anybody who's watching this on YouTube later, going shot for shot remake of Cowboy Bebop, no. Yeah, see, and BT's in there, Ryan's in there, being like, I'd rather have it before spoilers hit me. And there's that piece, right? That it's the spoiler piece, and I understand that feeling immensely, but that's why I like the week to week drop.
Yeah,
but same with me. And like right now, I'm having a big problem with Doctor Who, the new Doctor Who stuff that's out, even though because I don't have BBC or anything. I bought it through iTunes, so the next day, so I have to kind of go dark on the interwebs until I can get home and watch it.
That was me.
I'm going to get spoiled.
That was me when I first moved to Washington. And when I first moved to Seattle, did not have cable or anything like that with the BBC, so I was already pre-ordering the entire season on iTunes or whatever like that, so it would be ready the next day, and I could just pick up and watch it. And that was at the time of like the Time of the Doctor and all the like holy F like episodes that were coming out around then. Like, woo, man.
Yeah, so I'm definitely in the camp where like I don't have time to sit and watch 10 hours or 10 episodes of Bebop back to back to back. I would love to have that time. Technically, tomorrow I could have that time, but I do have other shit to do. Yeah. Even though it's a holiday. I'm going to finish Bebop tomorrow. I'm going to finish Hawkeye tomorrow, and that's great. But again, I don't want spoilers. And the other problem with that is if you are a person who watches all 10, and how do you not talk to somebody about this?
I would like to point to
something you love.
I would like to point to chat, and I will say this: not only does Ryan Ye kill me in every RPG that we ever play, but he has a steel trap when it comes to spoilers. He will not spoil it for you. He will give you the option to say, "Do you want me to spoil that for you?" Yeah, and if you say no.
Oh no, and that's fine.
He is a monk about that, man. He will just keep moving. He's good.
I don't understand any, like, if I see a movie or something and it excites me, like Bebop, for example, I want to talk to somebody about it, and like we're doing now, I want to commiserate about it and like get other people's opinions and share mine. Yep. I don't want to be quiet about something that I love that much.
And this is why I love the weekly drop, because you get to watch those 2 episodes of Hawkeye. Yes. We all watch those 2 episodes of Hawkeye. But then once I watch the 2 episodes of Hawkeye later tonight, I could talk to Mallo about it this weekend.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we can be like, oh, I know what's going to happen on the next episode. Coming back to the actual function of Bebop.
Actually, Ye makes a good point in the chat though. He's like, I watch it again and analyze it. And I was like, that's a great way of handling it. Yeah. And, I mean, my day job is filmmaking and storytelling, so like, I'm kind of with Ye on this one. Like for me, I don't like getting spoilers and stuff like that. Like when you're on set all the time, like people just talk about, that's all you talk about is movies and other your art, right? Like you talk about the things that everybody else is doing. So shit gets spoiled for me all the time when it comes to it. I just learned to accept it. And I also have a terrible brain when it comes to remembering these details. So by the time I get around to watching it, that I'm like, cool, it's fine. Like I can experience it for myself,
Yeah.
Do my best. I always do my best to avoid spoiling for others. Say thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes.
All right.
Nothing infuriates me more than be like just browsing through like normal news websites, and it's like, did you see that an amazing shocker spoiler where this happened to this character on this show? It's like, yeah, bitch, I'm gonna cut you. That was like 20 hours ago.
Can't go to Reddit. Can't do Reddit afterwards if you're trying to get spoilers.
No.
Just wait, because we can maybe talk about this closer to the end of the stream. There's going to be a problem next month with the whole spoiler mill.
Which one?
That later. Spider-Man.
Oh fuck, man! Yeah. Have you been keeping up with it? I know the whole movie by now. I can tell you the whole fucking movie.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Is that maybe are the spoilers correct or the least correct? Because like some of these channels have kind of hit or miss reputations with that.
I do quantity over quality. To that exact point, though, like because I love, one of my favorite things to do, I think we talked about it on this show. is I love going to certain YouTube channels that theorize and speculate about the phases of Marvel, and they analyze the feature and they talk about all this kind of stuff because nerd shit. I love it. Like, let's talk about, like, if you've read the comics, right? Like, we've all seen the anime for Cowboy Bebop, so it's like nothing here is necessarily spoiling. We know certain things will eventually happen. If you've read the comics, like, you know certain things are probably going to happen. Like, it's not like the end of the world, but how they pull it off is the part to me that I love to see, and you can't spoil that to me.
So let's bring this back to Bebop because I made an analogy before the show, and I'm sticking with this. With the changes that they've made to Bebop from the live action from the anime, I liken it to Final Fantasy VII. If you haven't played the remake, I'm going to spoil it for you. The whole thing is about setting up the system that the story from the end of the remake on forward will not be the same as the original, right? That the timelines have diverged, right? The golden timeline in Final Fantasy VII has been destroyed. Okay, cool. The changes they've made to Bebop, I now do not know where they are going with stuff.
Yeah.
So on the spoiler thing, the changes that they've made to the story, I'm going, what are you doing with this? Right? Like, in the episode that I'm in where they're setting up the meeting with, where Vicious is going to go meet with Mao Yenrai, I'm like, why are you doing that? That didn't happen before. So, I feel like you can be spoiled even if you've seen it because they've made so many changes.
Ye brings up a great part in the chat. He says, to me, 7 remake versus 7, Bebop live versus the anime, Battlestar Galactica new versus the old. They're different beasts, right? They have similarities, but they're different stories. And I think that's okay. Personally, I like the different stories. So
I'm agreeing. I'm just saying, like, to bring it to Bebop, the changes they made mean that this can now be spoiled because I don't know if it's going to end the same way.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
The how I think is for me, again, we all know the story of Dune. If you've read the book or the synopsis and stuff like that, it's the how they pulled it off in that movie theater, which splitting it up between 2 parts and stuff like that. It's the how they pull it off to me. You just really can't spoil unless I just happen to see a bunch of like leaked footage or something like that. But that's the part that I tend to personally, that's just me personally, that I really enjoy. But I get really nerdy about the behind the scenes lighting and special effects and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you wanted to talk about visuals.
Well, I want to
say that sounds like a perfect example.
Oh, okay.
To the visual.
All right. I didn't want Kaylee. Did you have a point you want to make before we move on?
No, that was the exact point I was going to make. Is that if you want to talk about lighting and cinematography, Bebop is an amazing show.
Oh my God! Yes.
I think there were a couple little bobbles in the very first episode. And I can't even remember what they were. I just remember seeing them. They were kind of like rough edges.
The CG, some of the CG kind of like either uncanny valleys me, where I'm like, or
a little bit.
There's a teeny bit of uncanny valley with some of the CG, and somewhere I'm like, ooh, like there was one of the shots where where Spike's taking off in his zip craft, and I'm like, But then you look at the one where he's got the face changer with Hakeem.
Yeah.
That was a great effect. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just everything about it. Like there's one scene where it's just he's going to get in his ship and the Bebop's hangar doors are opening and there's a skyline behind him.
Yes.
It's the most beautiful shot. You just want to you want that as a wallpaper.
I'm trying to screenshot it so I can get it as a wallpaper. I mean, we wrote a cyberpunk book, right? Like the aesthetic of Bebop will always, the aesthetic of Japanese anime will always be one of my favorites anyways, right? But I think the thing for me is kind of, I think it's been one of those things where like it's like a lot of the showrunners and directors looked at Pulp Fiction and the bluntness of Quentin Tarantino's storytelling and filmmaking style and lifted parts of that and put it into this anime world, because that whole scene where they destroy the red stuff, that they're making, right? Everybody's naked.
the red eye.
The red eye,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Everybody's naked. They don't hold any of that back, and I was not ready for that part. Thank goodness my spouse and child had gone upstairs, because it's all out
at
there.
the beginning of episode that there is nudity and gore, and they are not fucking around.
They're not fucking around, no. And I think that's the thing, is that like there are visceral shots in here, gratuitous visceral shots. But honestly, I think it works. And I think that's what makes it almost like a Pulp Fiction-esque, like over the top bit of the storytelling that just really blends everything together.
The art direction is really good. There's so much detail in the backgrounds. By the way, I don't know if anybody else notices. Did anyone else see the Coming to America reference?
Yes.
And I think it's episode 3, I think, where I'm like, McDonald's!
Yep.
Yes, I did see that. There is a lot of product placements in there that are just slightly left of center.
Yep.
That they can't use the name. But yeah, the background stuff is amazing. There's an episode later where they need to find a VCR.
Yeah, I remember that. Of course,
Jet has one, and it's out of focus. But like they go to push a button, to play the tape on it, and there's a little piece of like tape that says "Do not touch," and then a different piece of tape that says "This means you, Spike." And it's just these little tiny things that is just, and one of the things I want to screen grab. It's in the very first episode when they're going through the gate. And Jet makes his joke about he's going to take a piss. There's all this stuff is going on in the background, and there's literally a sign to the left of the Beebop when you're looking out through the bridge panels, where it shows ship the Beebop and all the stuff about it that I never get a chance to watch. I want to try and catch that so I can read it all. There's so much going on in the background.
So chat brings up the opening casino fight.
Okay.
And I love the fact that like they did the 3, 2, 1, and then it starts into a fight. So it's literally 3, 2, 1, let's jam. Like, because it keeps cutting back. It cuts to the elevator, it's 3. Then it goes to a little bit of stuff, then it cuts back and it's 2. And it cuts back again, and then it's 1. And I'm like, like that's amazing detail that like I just, a fancy anime won't get it right away. But those fans that do understand it were like, yes.
I'm ashamed I missed it, and now I'm like, oh my god, that makes it even better.
There's some amazing background details that they've just kind of shoved in here, like the name of the sushi place that Vicious is wandering in and out of. Right, the Senshi logo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, did you catch the name of the casino? That was kind of blatant.
No, I didn't. What did I miss?
Watanabe?
Oh, jeez.
I mean, it's right there on the wall. I'm just like, nice. Shinichiro Watanabe.
Yep.
It's like just beautiful.
See, Chad got it. Chad had it.
There you
go.
But I think that's why you have to watch it twice. In fairness, I think that chat's pointing out why you have to watch it a couple times. And I think this is going to be one of those ones I don't usually go back and rewatch shows. That's just not a thing I can do. I went back and rewatched Firefly 4 years ago. It's the first time I've rewatched Firefly or any show at all, except for Top Gear or Grand Tour, but I use that to go to sleep.
Okay, thank you. Somebody else who gets it.
What, putting on shows to go to sleep?
Oh, no, Top Gear and Grand Tour especially.
Oh, well, I know people who used to work on it, so...
okay.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that later, but yeah, I'm a huge Top Gear and Grand Tour fan. So.
Absolutely, yes.
Chat's pointing out the sound design, like when the vacuum and when all the sound cuts out when the vacuum.
Yes.
Yeah.
God, yes.
So that's the other thing, and it's the design on this stuff is just amazing. Oh, by the way, the costume design, Spike's suit looks amazing. I want that suit so bad. I've always wanted to cosplay Spike, but now I'm like, I really want to cosplay Spike. Seeing that, the way that it cuts across.
And just as this is again a little spoiler for later, but it's very minor. You see that Spike? Well, that suit gets destroyed. Don't worry, he's got 4 more in his closet.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
It's just that shirt and that jacket.
I love that. I want his headphones. I wear studio phones all days, but I want those headphones in particular.
I like that's again a nice thing because like there's a scene where he's walking through this like open air market and it's got the music, and then when he takes his headphones off, they they melded
fade
out
out the music.
to show that it was him, and then you can kind of sort of hear it tinny in the background, and you're like, got it.
They did that in the very first episode too, in the casino.
Yes. Yeah, Chad actually just put that out with the casino fight where the music cut out.
Yeah.
When there's no air.
Jet's arm looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how well they pulled that off.
It's come out very well.
Is that CG or practical? Do we know?
I think that's practical. It looks practical to me.
Yeah.
And that's why I was surprised.
Can I just say, by the way, that I'm very glad when we come to practical effects. Can I be very glad that that they changed the plot of the teddy bear bomber to something more simplistic at the end? Because I felt like that episode in the anime dragged on for bloody ever, but in the live action show, it was just like, yeah, we're on a ship, it's this thing, and then blah blah blah, and then it was like done, and I was like, that's cool. I'm glad we didn't need to go into a monologue by that guy. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, he had his manifest, so
yes, yeah, that was actually another one of where the CGI kind of failed him. Was the explosion that looked very much like early 90s Babylon 5 explosion to me.
Ouch.
Hey,
I know what you mean.
This is Babylon 5 being one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It's even better than Deep Space Nine. Fight me, Trek nerds. I don't care.
I agree with you.
You know, Cisco's still my captain, but don't worry. Susan Ivanova is my leader. That's the difference.
Ivanova is wise. Yes.
Ivanova is the shit.
And well, then there's Delen's greatest lines, but let's not go into Babylon 5.
God, that's a whole other episode we could do.
Let's go back to the show. And I want to talk like, we were talking about how the backgrounds look so phenomenal and the costuming looks phenomenal. We touched on this very briefly, but the sound and the music.
Yes.
Beebop would not be Beebop without the music. And we talked about this a little bit at the beginning with Yoko Kanno and seatbelts, but every single scene, the music is so perfect and evocative. You may not even notice it's there, but like as soon as it changes, you realize, oh my God, that was perfect for that scene.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like having the perfect, and this is technically, anybody who knows me, this is kind of arcane for me, but it's like having the perfect wine to go with your meal.
Cheers.
It brings everything up. It brings everything up, and Beebop is part and parcel with its music, and I'm glad that none of that, all the pieces just slip together perfectly.
I'm also glad they're keeping the conceit of doing the episode titles as different types of music.
Yes.
So gospel, pop, swing, soul, tango, two-step. So that's a lot of fun. I'm glad they kept that and calling them sessions, not episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I'm glad they're keeping that piece.
Can I make one criticism of the music though? And this is because I watched, Cowboy Bebop very recently, and this has become one of my favorite songs of all time, much to my family's chagrin. But the fact that every episode does not end with the real folk blues hurts me just a little bit, because I'm ready to just belt it out. I've heard that later episodes it comes back, but I'm ready to sing in Japanese the whole song and then get to the chorus where it just says real folk blues and I'm just belting out like I'm fucking karaoke in my studio. Like, that part pains me just a little bit. But
I have to ask you a side tangent question, if the jury will allow. Have you heard the different versions of Tank from the box set of the Cowboy Bebop soundtrack?
I have.
Yes.
Ed's version and Ein's versions?
They're fantastic.
They're fantastic.
I hope we get them in season 2. Wink, nudge.
Yes.
By the way, that corgi they got for Ein is perfect.
Yes.
I'm like,
there is a scene in coming up. You will see it. It's in Sad Clown episode 8 that Ein makes me bawl my eyes out. There's a scene. I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about the dog like he's an actor, but he nailed the scene so perfectly. It just made me cry. And you'll know it when you see it.
Those dogs work hard. I've worked with dogs on sets before. They work hard. They practice that shit. I want to pet Ein. I want to own Ein.
Yeah.
I've tried to have a dog in my life. I think when my current pets pass on eventually in the years, I will try to do corgi because Ein.
You know what corgi's like. So our buddy Phil, who was going to join us tonight and then got called away because he's prepping for Thanksgiving, he has a corgi, a Welsh corgi, and
yes,
it's an interesting little dog.
They're
it's fantastic. No, they're fantastic.
She's
sassy as all get out. I love them.
She's getting grumpy in her old age because she's getting up there, but she's a funny dog.
That's fine. Old lady grumpy dogs. I got an old lady cat. I'm fine with that. She's very grumpy sometimes too.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I grew up with dachshunds, so when I say they're a handful, I know what I'm talking about, but I'm saying it in a loving way because I love those dogs.
Yes.
But yeah, they're not easy, but they're wonderful to have.
Yep. No, I am absolutely in love with all of that stuff. Okay, what else do we have to talk about? Can we talk about the fact that they kept the opening trailer? And they used their marketing for this whole series to me really was top notch. Nobody's going to be busting down the wall. This is not the next Squid Game. I don't think it's going to enter the zeitgeist quite like that, which makes me worry about future episodes because I do worry that they do need to have an actual end to this, much like the regular anime, because you can't just leave this shit hanging. Nerds will not allow that. But I do think that their ability to keep the opening similar and sort of improve upon it for the live action, I thought that was really key. And they used that as part of the marketing to get people hyped about it and stuff like that, and to kind of calm the nerves, you know?
Well, yeah, because the first thing that everybody asks is how you're doing a live action adaptation of a beloved anime. If there's so many places in here where we're doing an entire show on comparisons.
Yeah.
So if the music wasn't up to snuff, it would fail. If the players playing the characters weren't up to snuff, all these pieces really had to work together. And the very first thing that they put out of the gate was the opening credits.
Yeah.
And it's okay, the music is the same. Check. Visuals are shot for shot the same, but you have these live action characters that really, really look the same. The only negatives I've heard about the opening credits are from the Dude Bros, who are why is Faye wearing all those clothes? Because she's an actual woman. Fuck you.
Yes.
Well, and because that costume again for an anime, and we all know that the traditions in anime, it's not a practical costume. You
never
can't
will be.
wear it. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. So I like the choice they made there for.
Like you, Mallo, I think the marketing is good.
Yeah.
I too am concerned. I think a lot of the marketing, and I think somebody pointed this out in chat, was very nostalgia based.
Yes.
Right? In fact, I think the way that they construct the opening sequence where they because it's Tank, but they've got a bunch of cut-ins from the live action.
Yeah.
When I watched that opening sequence when they released it beforehand, there were characters where I was I know who you are.
Yep.
You're here for 90 seconds, but you're recognizable, right?
Yes.
Any fans are going to know this. I'm worried, and Netflix has a nasty tendency of doing this.
Yes.
And that's canceling shows with no warning.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And Netflix has a nasty tendency of being yeah, we know it's doing well. We don't care. We don't want to do it anymore. So fortunately, they actually they've actually pushed out a new site to talk about statistics. So Cowboy Bebop is currently in the top 10 through the 21st of November.
Does that mean anything in Netflix land?
No.
So it's number 6, and it's got 21 million hours viewed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at number 6.
That's a lot higher than I thought it would be, to be quite honest with you.
So sadly, though, it's behind You Season 3, Tiger King Season 2, and interestingly, Arcane Season 1 is actually at the number 1 right now.
but for everything that I have read, and I don't know the lore of League of Legends, but Arcane's on my list to watch over the holidays. Because I've heard it's damn good. And I love me a good animated series that's got the sci-fi.
Well, but I actually kind of want to see that. It has my attention.
I've heard that you don't need to understand LOL to know the series, that it eschews the, which frankly, I played League of Legends one time and got yelled things I can't say on Twitch because it turns a service. Because I picked the wrong person and picked the wrong lane. So I immediately uninstalled because fuck that shit. I don't care. I get abused in my daily life enough. So League of Legends people, chill the fuck out. But I hear the cartoon's good. Sorry, that was my soapbox moment because it's a toxic ass community.
Netflix, just like I said, they have that nasty tendency of being like, yeah, we're done now.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm afraid of, is that we're going to get, my biggest fear is we're actually going to get 2 seasons in, and they're not going to be done, and then Netflix is going to go, pulling the plug.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to point out that as somebody who lived through the original airing of Fire and cancellation of Fire, I'm having a trauma response right now.
Yep, with you.
Yeah.
So I don't want to think about that.
Every Joss,
my happy place.
Every decent Joss Whedon show that was on Fox back in the late 90s. Yep.
Well, that's why we're kind of coming to this whole
Dollhouse, rest in peace.
Is there a way to market this to make sure it hits the metrics that whatever Netflix is going to need to keep it?
I think you are right. I think they leaned heavily on the nostalgia for it.
Yeah.
But Beebop is, Beebop is is very simple and complicated at its core to explain to people. It's about space cowboy bounty hunters, but that just scratches the surface.
Yeah.
Bebop's really it's a whole experience. It's hard to explain unless you've been there. It's weird.
And I agree with you. Like I said, I'm on board. That's why I want to see them market it in a way where people like my spouse who aren't into anime, people who wouldn't normally watch this type of show, will watch it and see how great it is.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to play the nostalgia card, get the fanboys and fangirls, because then they're going to drag their spouses, significant others in front.
Yeah.
I think that's their idea.
And get him excited by Ed and some of the other quirkiness that comes along with it.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to end tonight's show with a discussion about the Cowboy Bebop RPG that is incoming.
Excuse me, what?
It's coming.
It is coming. It is created by Mana Project, which is the studio behind Sunrise and all that kind of stuff.
It's new.
I'm trying to figure out who actually did it. So of course they're launching the RPG, just like the Last Airbender RPG. They're cashing the fuck in on these things.
Okay.
As we go.
It's based on the anime. The thing is I don't know a lot about the game system.
That's what literally was my question. I was waiting to you guys.
Fumble GDR, not the end system. Do you know anything about that?
I don't.
Me neither.
So here's the thing. In the last 10 years, I have not seen a licensed RPG thrive. Period. Star Wars is probably the closest.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that the current edition of Star Wars under Fantasy Flight is not thriving. My understanding is it's been on the edge of cancellation basically the whole time they've had the license.
They went great guns on it, and I can speak to that very well as somebody who's been playing it for 6 years and, semi-professionally records a podcast that's been going for 6 years running that show, running that game. They've stopped dice production. I think right now the only books that, I don't even know if there are any books scheduled to come out, but they've trickled, and basically they were already in the pipeline. I think they had the license, and they just vomited up a bunch of stuff because they knew, Last Jedi, Rise, the Skywalker trilogy was coming, and there was this upswell with Clone Wars and everything. They wanted to get on the bandwagon, and they shot their shot, and they don't care anymore.
Yeah.
You literally cannot find the dice for the game anymore.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's actually true.
So actually, another discussion with the whole thing. So I actually just signed up to be part of the playtest for the Cowboy Bebop RPG.
Ooh, send me a link to that, would you?
I don't know. I don't know anything about the system.
I found a note on it about it. It's like you create characters from key traits and abilities arranged in a honeycomb-like grid of hexes.
Are you reading Dicebreaker as well?
I am reading Dicebreaker as well.
I might need to see this system because there are trademarks and copyrights in our book that I might have to have a discussion with people about.
Yeah, it sounds a little complicated, a little derivative. But I have already had. So we're currently my current weekly game. We're on a break from our role play heavy game, and everybody just said they wanted I'm doing Tomb of Horrors because they wanted a dungeon crawl, and I like torturing people. But I started talking about Beebop, and everybody's like, yeah, you should run that for us. I want to make a bounty hunter. And like a couple of them who've never seen the show before just heard about it and they're excited. And it's like, okay, what do I run it under, you know?
My concern with the Beebop RPG is the same as a lot of the others. They're going to get a good sell run out of their first run because people buy it for nostalgia and fun.
Yeah.
But unless you find a way to really expand the universe and turn it into something, it's there and then it dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you've got to really hit on stuff. So this is the thing.
I'm always really, really wary about any licensed RPG because they tend to go to people who are more worried about the money.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Than the game. And that's because they're the ones that have the money to pay for that license.
Yes.
Like, if I thought I could in any way license Cowboy Bebop for humanoid games, I would go into Hawk to do it.
I mean, in fairness, there is a lot of Cowboy Bebop influence in the original Angel City stories.
There is, but I'm saying an actual Bebop game.
Yeah, no, but I mean, if you think about it, you could take our system and run Bebop all day long because what's the throes of the original anime is that it's set in a cyberpunk world, and that they're always fucking poor. Those are the two main hallmarks of the game.
Technically, all you need to do is advance the timeline a little bit, throw an astrogate, and implode.
Yes.
You know, we're good to go.
Well, we actually have been planning for that. To be quite honest.
Shit, I spoiled. I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's fine. We've done it to ourselves.
Chat pointed out that doing it in Big Eye Small Mouth, which was the role-playing game that's been around for a long time, designed to run anime-style games where it's kind of shenanigans.
Yeah.
The system is really right over there.
Yeah, the system is kind of built for it. I can definitely see like where you would want to do BESM for a Bebop RPG. Again, I'm wary about any licensed product. It's fun. I love Bebop. It'd be a fun one shot to do like bounty.
I'm gonna start a fight here and agree with you, but it could open up a whole can of worms. Another system that would be really good in is the system that the original Serenity game was in. Not the Firefly afterwards, but the original Serenity.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little dark, a little gritty, a little, it was just, I liked it. It was a decent, simple little system.
It was Cortex system.
Yep. I was also thinking about trying to do it in Genesis, which is another Fantasy Flight Games thing, which is more of a playing, or Modern Age from Green Ronin.
Cortex was used for Battlestar Galactica, the role-playing game, too.
Yep. The Age system is pretty good, too. I could see using that. The Age has Blue Rose, Modern Age, The Expanse is. So there's a lot of places that it could be run, and I think it could be it'd be a great con game, especially.
Yeah.
But like long-term campaign might be a little hard because it's hard to keep players on the edge of poverty forever. Well, I mean, it's not hard, but it's hard on.
It's hard. It's hard on the team, right? Like,
But I don't think you need to do that with Bebop, with the Bebop RPG. There's so much there, like especially now, like where you're seeing like the stuff with the Syndicate,
Yeah.
and the socioeconomic stuff, and that was stuff that, and I'm trying to remember, and that was something I was upset about in the first episode of live action.
Okay.
Was his interactions with the girl who was with Asimov Sorensen.
Okay.
Okay.
Right?
Because he was
in the
basically
original-
trying to pick her up.
Kinda.
Yeah.
My issue is in the original anime, it's a class issue, right? She's like, oh, we're gonna go to Mars, and she's like, have you ever been to Mars? Like, I was born on Mars, right? And it's the way he plays that thing in the anime where she's like, oh, I heard it's great there. He's like, sure, it's great if you're rich.
Yeah.
But that sequence didn't play out that way. And there's an episode in the anime, it's my favorite episode of the anime, and it's Waltz for Venus.
Yep, that's a good one.
Is my favorite episode of the anime, and I was really hoping sometime early in this season that we were gonna get that story.
Yeah.
Because, in my opinion, that story that they do in Waltz for Venus in the anime so tightly encompasses who Spike is now.
Yeah, I would say that.
And we aren't seeing that side of Spike yet. At all.
Well, and moreover does it, and this is something, not to get too deep into it, but we have, hell, it might even still be pinned to the top of your Twitter. But you know that thing of the, all the actual social and political issues in Cyberpunk, and then it like does the thing where it like goes over that and it'd be like, oh, cool shit.
Yes. Like, it is still pinned to the top of my Twitter.
Like, that's kind of like the thing that Cowboy Bebop in the original anime got to a little bit in the class society and being broke all the time. It was done in a little bit more of a like, it was an anime way. So it's like, yeah, I'm hungry, but like they were still kind of smiling while they said I'm hungry, right? Because that's just how anime was drawn back then.
Yeah.
But I think you can get into a little bit more of that with this series, and I'm interested to know if they're gonna get to some of that stuff, or if they're just gonna stay glossy and be like, oh, cool shit, you know.
They played a lot. They're playing very fast and loose with money at this point. I mean, during the whole scene for the doll, you know, Jet's $10,000 is a lot of money to them right now.
Yeah.
And that's where again I get confused in how they're looking at it. Because I'm going, is it or is it like yen? Because 10,000 yen is not a lot of yen.
Yeah.
Are Wulongs like yen or are they like dollars?
I was picturing they were like the dollar was like $100.
Right.
That's how I was kind of thinking about it.
But like when I'm like, these guys are worth 15 million Wulong, and you can't retire after one bounty, it makes me feel like they're more like yen.
Yeah.
Well, because the first bounty was 15 million, but then they damages.
Yeah. But I'm saying like just in general, I'm like, you guys are always saying how broke you are. These feel like yen to me.
Yeah.
I mean, just knowing where it comes from originally, I would say it's probably more like yen, or, you know.
But kind of going back to it again, they talk a lot about like the reason I love Waltz for Venus is the guy that Spike ends up initially going after, and then kind of comes back to. He's literally doing crime because his sister can't get health care.
Yeah.
Right? In the original anime, right? And then Spike's like, you know what? I'm going to help you. Right?
Yeah.
And then Spike tries to help him, and then the kid dies after Spike tries to teach him how to flow like water.
Yeah.
When they're fighting.
Yeah.
And then at the end, the kid's dying. He's like, did I flow? Right? And then Spike sends him the like recording of her brother, like, because she's blind, and you know, like, they deal with some class and some other issues where they're like, look, it's not all happy, good, fun times out here in these space colonies. Some of these people are screwed. And I don't see that in the show right now.
Chat would like us to know that apparently the nerds have figured out that Wulong is the equivalent of 1 cent in US. So 15 million Wulong is not much, apparently.
No.
Do the math.
Divide it by 100.
It's too late at night for me to.
It's $150,000, and then if they minus all the, all the shit,
No
then,
wonder they're always so broke.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they got like a $1,000.
Yeah, basically.
Bebop's such a huge ship. I mean, that's some maintenance cost right there.
Maintenance cost,
Hey,
gas, like.
Did you realize we haven't seen Jet's ship yet?
Hit Zipcraft?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
no,
we have it.
We also haven't seen. You notice the one that they brought Faye in on early in the thing is not the
It's
one
not
she
hers.
had.
Yeah.
It comes very soon.
Oh,
You
it
are
does?
almost there. Yeah.
That's
I think
Zipcraft? Okay, good.
episode 7. Yeah.
That's-
You're gonna see it in the background and go, "Ooh!" You're gonna be immediately.
That's actually an interesting change too, because when did Jet get a motorcycle in the anime? Did I miss that in the anime? In the first or second
don't
episode,
think
he had
has
a
it.
fucking.
It comes back too in episode 5.
Yeah.
He had a ground craft in the anime, I think.
There was a car.
Yeah, I don't.
Chat says he didn't
I
have
just
one in the
remember-
anime.
Okay.
So that's a different. That's a change for the Netflix series too.
So, yeah, I think that's probably my other gripe about the live action is they've really left a lot of that behind.
Yeah.
Is the money and class stuff. Like they're playing the money thing for laughs.
Yeah. Will they ever get
But,
to
like-
some seriousness about it? Yeah.
About why this is an issue beyond just Jet needs to buy a doll for his daughter, and this is the Tickle Me Elmo of Cowboy Bebop, right?
Yeah, that was a good nod. There's one of the thing I'll mention in the class thing. I think they're maybe really pushing it to the background, and this leads right back around to the whole, how it's laid out. Have you noticed that everything in the series, all the background stuff, it's all old. It's all old, but future. It's like retro steampunk.
It's retro futuristic. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's all like worn down and shabby. It's the like this. We were playing Forza Horizon 5, and one of my friends was like, "I've been to Mexico. It's not this pretty there."
Yeah.
it's like, yeah. I mean, but I like how they kept that feeling of you brought back the old because it worked. It was reliable. You didn't need a degree in computers to fix it. So it's kind of run down, kind of shabby, but it still works.
One thing that I will say in our own game design, to bring this to Identico for just a second, though, it's exactly your point, Kaylee.
Wait, do you have a game?
Yeah.
Oh,
Bullets are still the easiest way to kill somebody. Moving metal projectile is still, and that's the thing in Bebop. They're still shooting bullets. There's still clips.
That's
Guns
because
aren't changing much. Like,
We
why
talk about it
change?
in the book.
yeah, why
right?
change though? Right? Like,
yeah.
Cartridge weapons haven't changed in like 200 years now.
Yeah,
It's like, why would you spend money to develop a battery system and an energy emission phaser?
exactly.
You could just, I mean, the only reason I can think of, and this is, I love that they did this in the first episode. It's like, you don't want to fire that in here. Wham. Okay. Hull breach. Oh shit. You know, if you're in space, projectiles, bad idea.
That was
Or good
muffins.
idea, depending on what you want to do.
That's what that was. That was muffins in the middle of a casino fight. Don't shoot the
Yes.
big ass weapon. Shoots the big ass weapon anyways. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we've got a problem.
I also was a little tiny bit sad that we didn't get the full bell peppers and beef line from episode 1 of the anime.
Yeah.
They kind of play off of it, but I'm like, he was like, Chad, I thought you said this was bell peppers and beef.
Yeah, I know. I was looking for that too, but then I was just kind of looking at everything and just wheeling a little bit in happiness. So I let it go.
So I'm hoping they bring some of that stuff in season 2, and we get a little more of that kind of thing.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
Any final thoughts before we sign off? We're doing an early podcasty version because it's Thanksgiving. Any last thoughts, y'all?
good show.
Yeah, I had hopes going into it, but I wasn't trying to get them up very high because, as you guys both mentioned, it's one of my favorite anime of all time. It's probably the favorite anime. It's one of the few animes I will watch and prefer it dubbed
Yes.
Ever since ADV Studios went away, I stopped loving the dub voices in a lot of anime, but Beebop was perfect the way it was. So I had high expectations, and I really think this show, it won't replace the anime for me, but I really do love it. It has a same spot on TV that Beebop anime does in anime. It is getting purchased the minute I can get it.
Yes. I'm kind of in the same boat with a lot of that. In fact, I've been doing an anime renaissance lately to the fact that Vampire Hunter D is coming out on Blu-ray in January, and I've already pre-ordered my copy because it's the one I can't find, but I remember from when I was a child. So I'm excited for that.
We'll talk later about anime, by the way, since you remember anime.
Yes.
I need to catch up. Especially with the store that I'm opening, where it's got such a heavy anime. I'm like, oh, time to catch up.
Oh, I'm behind. The last thing you want to do is get schooled by the patrons, man. I got to do so much travel in the next few months that like I'm just preloading this on the stuff and watching it on the show or watching it on flights, you know. So, all right. Kaylee, where can folks find you on the interwebs?
The easiest place to find me is on the Redemption Podcast. We are currently the oldest still running Star Wars RPG podcast on the net. We've been at it over 6 years. You can find us at redemptionpodcast.com, releasing episodes every other Monday. You can also find me on Twitter at AnimeGirl, ANIMEIGRRL, and you can hit me up there.
Definitely. Go watch the Redemption Podcast. It's fantastic. Or watch it. Listen to it. Sorry.
I mean, watching this is pretty boring. It's just one picture the whole time.
In my head, I saw the picture too of everybody's characters and stuff like that from the season, and I said watch. But yeah, you can also watch Kaylee every other Monday on Chaos Inc. right here, 6 p.m. Twitch.tv/Identico for if you're watching it on YouTube later. Kaylee has had some of the best RP moments in that particular show with our friend Firefly Steph. So just know that they bring some amazing stuff to that show.
That has been an amazing show, and I love you guys.
Well, we love having you on the show. Alex, besides people find you?
I am Alex the Humanoid everywhere. The Twitters, the TikToks, everywhere.
Go harass, and by harass I mean love all over him on TikTok. That's his favorite platform. He gushed with me for about
where he works. Don't do that. It freaks him out.
Well, it's he kind of talks about where he works all the time because he's got a store and shit. So, you know,
that's the thing. Yeah, people are weird.
Yeah.
Anyway,
just wait till he tells you where it is. People, calm down.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Calm your nerds. I'm the Mallo Man, literally everywhere on the planet at all times. Come check me out. Especially on the Instagram, because I post a lot of stuff there, especially about my work and my day job, and all the cool things I make for Identico at the same time. So until then, have a happy Thanksgiving to those folks that are in the chat. Thank you for joining us for the night before Turkey Day. If you're watching this on YouTube later, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving or at least a holiday break. I hope you didn't get trampled in Black Friday sales. Trust me, it's not worth it. Shop small, everybody. Until then, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Check out playidentico.com if you want some merch from the show. That goes to support us doing this crazy stuff every week. Until then, oh hey, look at that, he's got the merch thing. Until that, we love you. Stay weird, and we'll see you soon. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.